And firstly, let me acknowledge all of you and thank you very much for being part of this really important conversation in this country. And indeed, thank you very much for coming. Let me acknowledge the presence of the Deputy Minister of ICT, Post and Courier Services, Honorable Dimosi Puti, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Dr. Bichirume, the Director General of Fortress, Dr. G.K. Machingete, the Director General of the Financial Intelligence Unit, Mr. Oliver Chiperesa, the Manager in charge of Technology Consulting at Ernst & Young, Mr. Takuzo Chantora, the Dean of the Faculty of Management and Entrepreneurial Sciences at Women's University in Africa, Professor Sim Takabarasha, the Managing Consultant at Third Eye Africa, Mr. Emmanuel Shada, the Data Protection Commissioner for the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Likando Luya, the Vice President and Chief Knowledge Officer at the International Association of Privacy Professionals, Ms. Caitlin Fennessy, the Head of Legal at Unwanted Witness in Uganda, Mr. Sempala Kikosi, the National Personal Data Protection Director at the National Information Technology Authority of Uganda, Ms. Stella Alibates, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very good morning to you. I'm honored to be here today as the guest of honor for this inaugural Data Privacy Week Symposium. Indeed, today it marks history, together as we deepen the implementation of the Cyber and Data Protection Act, Chapter 12.07. I want to extend my gratitude to Portras for organizing this very important event, which is the first of its kind here in Zimbabwe. I commend that since this is the first event, I believe that we're going to have more of these events going forward. We really want to thank you, Portras, for also hitting the ground running concerning its additional mandate as the Data Protection Authority of Zimbabwe. This symposium is a demonstration of Portras' dedication to raising awareness of the importance of data protection and also data privacy, as we providing a platform for stakeholders to discuss this critical issue. I remember the other time we launched the Cyber and Data Protection Week, where we are also realizing that it's important for us to have awareness towards this. And on that event, I remember very well, I mentioned that it is quite important for this not just to be an event, but for it to be a process, meaning that every single time and then we need to be having this and commemorating this so that at least it can really be having great awareness for the people of Zimbabwe. Indeed, today, I really want to also thank our President, His Excellency Dr. Tatenda, for also setting forth the legislative agenda in the 9th Parliament, which then brought forth the Cyber Data Protection Act. Indeed, as a country, we are now being recognized as a global player when it comes to data protection. And indeed, I think we need to applaud ourselves, since at least now we are there, being in the space to make sure that at least we're being recognized as indeed that player, that country that is also recognizing that. And this has been the trust that I believe our President has very much emphasized on us coming up with the Digitalized Zimbabwe, on us coming up indeed with the Cyber and Data Protection Act, which will also see us being protected when we're using data. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in an exciting yet very complex digital world where one ought to take control of their data if they are to successfully dodge the various ills that are rampant in the digital space. The inability to effectively control and safeguard the use and sharing of one's personal information may lead to regrettable consequences like identity theft, cyberbullying, and fraud, to just mention a few. Indeed, I'm here and I'm very happy to be part of this symposium, and which has got the theme, take control of your data. Indeed, this is very important, and for us as a ministry, which is responsible for information and communication technology, it is also our responsibility to let our people know how they can safely navigate the new digital world order. It is also imperative, therefore, that every Zimbabwean would also be able to find it in making sure that it is their duty to also partner with Portras in this noble cause of promoting awareness of data privacy. Indeed, we need also to take control for our data, and no one should be left behind. Guided by our President, His Excellency Dr. Tatenda, I also want to also urge Portras to also go beyond the towns and also educate the masses in the rural areas, where a lot of data collection is taking place and shared without the consent of the data subjects. Indeed, we're saying no one should be left behind. The reality of our time is that trillions of megabytes of data flow across the globe daily, and we are part of this big data community. We are also there to also use data in our everyday lives, and we make decisions, national, organizational, family decisions, and even personal levels. We are using decisions based on big data. But however, for us to also make sure that we put this to good use, the exponential growth of data collection, use, and also sharing provides a good opportunity for greater convenience and efficiency, and even business opportunities. It also creates vast opportunities for innovation and growth. However, when it is abused, it has the potential to cause a lot of pain and destruction. Data transactions, by their nature, transcend personal and national spaces, and if left unregulated, may violate individual rights and security. As much as the ministry and also Portras will help us with regulations and protect the nation and ourselves, it is also important for us to take it upon ourselves to see how best we can then be able to make sure that we protect our data. The Zimbabwean government is committed to protecting the privacy of its citizens' personal information. We recognize that data privacy is also a fundamental human right according to the Constitution of Zimbabwe. And we have put in place a regulatory framework to safeguard the use and sharing of personal information. This framework is outlined under the Cyber and Data Protection Act. This is also there to also make sure that we provide for the protection of personal information and also the designation of Portras to oversee the protection of personal issues here in Zimbabwe. However, protecting data privacy is not just the responsibility of the government of Zimbabwe. Indeed, it is a shared responsibility. That is to take a multi-sectoral approach that we are also supposed to all contribute towards. I'm happy that today we had various stakeholders coming through to also speak about this. And indeed, I also saw Zambia, Uganda, also contributing towards this. And for us as a country, we need to take it upon ourselves to also learn from other jurisdictions so that we're able to implement this. The use of personal data comes with a responsibility to ensure that it is used ethically and that the privacy of individuals is also respected. All stakeholders, including the private sector, civil society, and individuals, definitely have a role in creating a culture of data privacy in Zimbabwe. Culture, by its very nature, is invariably grown in our everyday lives, and we have seen this. We must also make sure that at least we see how best we can also fuse our culture and also in the same time also protecting our data. Indeed, I really want to also make sure that we need to raise a lot of awareness. I understand on the conversation we had before, you would realize that a lot of people are saying they are not very much exposed to what the Data and Cyber Protection Act speaks about. And it is important and it is imperative for us as a ministry to take it upon ourselves so that we go out there and make sure that we also even have rural expos, we even have urban expos, where we are also going to have people being very much exposed to what the Cyber and Data Protection Act is also talking about. As we celebrate the first edition of the Data Privacy Week under the theme So take control of your data. I really want to urge all stakeholders to prioritize data privacy in their operations and also their activities. As the economy continues to digitize towards Vision 2030, it is important to recognize that the protection of personal information is not just a matter of compliance, but also a matter of dignity. Constitutional imperative, trust and cooperation is also very critical. We need also to have trust, and which I believe is a critical component in any thriving digital ecosystem, and it is essential for the growth of the digital economy. I encourage organizations to adopt best practices for data protection and to invest in the necessary infrastructure and human capital to ensure that personal information is also secured. I understand that there has been a proposal to say it is quite important for all organizations to also come up with data protection officers and also even a data protection unit within organizations. This is very important, and we're encouraging all organizations to also make sure that they follow suit. I'm sure in the beginning of March, we're also going to launch our ICT policy. And within that same trust, we're also going to be having a broadband policy that we're also going to be also launching together with our Smart Zimbabwe Master Plan. In that view, what we want is for us to make sure that we create a conducive environment. We've got the legislation that has been put in place to make sure that as a country, we also have to set forth the legislation and also the policy so that organizations will also be compelled to make sure at least that they've got a data protection unity that they also put in place. I've also taken it upon myself to make sure that we equip our national data center. We want to equip our national data center, and within that same trust, we also need to also see as a country to also look for alternative ways of us having cloud computing services. You realize that as a country, we have got companies that have already privatized in also providing cloud computing services. And I'm saying let us look at what other jurisdictions are offering. It's important for us to make sure that we are able to provide for cloud computing services which are also in line with what we want to do as a country and also which are also cheap. So we are saying companies that are involved in this, let's see how best we can engage to make sure at least that we have got at least affordable cloud computing services. This then protects our data. If we've got companies that we know we can also be able to control, I think this will also go a long way. There was an issue which was also raised in most of the meetings that we've had of the .gov government domain. Definitely there's never a time we can be able to protect our data in Zimbabwe if government officials are using Gmail accounts. So what have we done? We've taken it upon ourselves. Right now we've got 5 ministries that have already started using the .gov domain. And I think this is quite imperative if ever we are going to make sure that we are protecting our data, because this is a starting point for us as a country where we are saying we need definitely to be hosting our own emails at government level. When we do this, then definitely we can even go and be able to also have processors that will also be able to have cloud computing services, which will see emails being hosted locally. So we are saying let's work together on this so that we're able to also make sure we enhance this. Definitely, there are a lot of disparities. We are talking about people from the rural areas and people who are here in the urban areas when it comes to their exposure to cyber and data protection issues. And I'm happy that Potras has taken it upon itself and already has got this unit. We definitely need to transit to go down to the private players, even to the rural areas, and see ourselves come up with this awareness. We need to come and also make sure that there is also the requisite infrastructure when it comes to people also making sure that they protect their data. Yes, I understand Professor Sandada went on and presented on the issue of women, where you were saying that indeed women are very much left behind when it comes to issues of data protection. We have got a program that we are calling ICT, Women in ICT, that is also being run by the Computer Society of Zimbabwe. And we're saying we're also bringing upon to even any other companies that would also want to follow suit. Let us see a deliberate move that we can put in place to see more women, more girls also getting to ICT, more women also getting exposed to data and protection issues. I think this way we'll definitely be able to achieve greatly as a country. Yes, even men don't have to be left behind. I also had one which was being called Boys in ICT. So definitely that's then make sure that at least we are bridging the gender divide. And at the same time, we're also bridging the digital divide. Definitely there's issues that we need to take upon ourselves so that at least we see and are able to comprehend issues going forward. And also, there is also a presentation which was made where they were saying that maybe 50% uptake is seen on the postal and courier services. They're saying that when it comes to data and cyber issues, the uptake there is a bit low. Then I'm saying, how then can we digitize as a country if it means it's low, yet definitely they are also supposed to be seen being at the forefront of digitizing Zimbabwe. So I'm taking upon myself to also encourage the postal and courier companies to also make sure at least that they have a great uptake when it comes to data and protection issues. And I'm saying definitely, I'm very confident that the discussions that you held here will contribute to also make sure that we have a better understanding on the importance of data privacy. And also for us to develop a robust data protection culture here in Zimbabwe. Indeed, I really want to thank you. I want to thank Portras. I want to thank the Director General, Dr. Machengeti, for heeding the call to take on this additional mandate and also run with it. As your ministry, we have taken note of all the efforts to implement this additional mandate, including the setting up of a data protection unit, the build-up of the data privacy symposium, and also the road shows that you're going to be having in Matibeleland, Blawayo, and Harare. And I'm happy that at least you're also reaching out to other areas. But however, I'm saying the thrust that we should be having is for us not to leave anyone and any place behind. And doubtfully, there has been notable progress when it comes to issues of personal privacy. And I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being part of this history making by participating in this first edition of the Data Privacy Symposium, which is a demonstration of our commitment to data privacy. So indeed, I really want to thank you, and I hereby declare the first edition of the Portras Data Privacy Symposium officially opened. I thank you.